So top Democrats sent a list of demands to Trump for the North Korea summit. Those Democrats are Chuck Schumer, Robert Menendez, Richard J. Durbin, Mark Warner, Dianne Feinstein, Patrick Leahy, and Sherrod Brown. I'm really disappointed by Sherrod Brown because there's been many instances of Sherrod Brown being one of the better, more populist left-wing Democrats. So shame on you, Sherrod, for this. Every other one is kind of expected. I mean, Dianne Feinstein and Robert Menendez and Chuck Schumer, they're going to be shitty corporate Democrats. I mean, they are the epitome they're the quintessential corporate Democrat. It's almost like they were created in a lab to be pro-establishment and really corporatist. So here are the demands that they're making of the Trump administration in these negotiations with North Korea. Number one, the deal must include the dismantlement and removal of all nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons from North Korea. Number two, the U.S. must ensure a complete and verifiable denuclearization of North Korea, removing all items related to nuclear weapons production to prevent the country from reversing course. Number three, North Korea must end its ballistic missile program as well. What? Number four, North Korea must comply with anywhere, anytime inspections to ensure it is not cheating on the deal, and sanctions must be immediately restored if it does cheat. Number five, the deal must be permanent. Okay, so let me explain to you what the Democrats are doing here. This is yet another example of the Democrats resisting Donald Trump from the right. From the right. Guys, these are more hawkish positions than John Bolton. That's not an exaggeration. So when they say, oh, even their ballistic missiles they have to give up. Wait. That was never in the conversation. That was never in the discussion. Because what you're saying is if they need to give up all their weapons, well, then they're just fucking sitting ducks for South Korea or the U.S. to go in there and topple them. And we have a track record of toppling people after doing deals like that. I mean, look at what we did to Gaddafi, where he gave up his weapons and then we fucking toppled him anyway. So what Chuck Schumer is saying is that North Korea has to give up all of their weapons, all of them, and then, oh yeah, the deal must be permanent. So that means the IAEA would be able to go into North Korea and do inspections forever. Listen, these are stricter terms than the Iran deal. In the Iran deal, it wasn't, ad infinitum that the IAEA inspectors could go into Iran. I think it was like, 10 or 15 years or something like that. And also under the Iran deal, they didn't have to give up their traditional weapons. It was only nuclear weapons potential. So in other words, the IAEA would go in there to make sure they're not enriching past a certain point where it could be used for a weapon. But it wasn't like, hey, give up any potential of self-defense or a deterrent. I mean, that'd be crazy. So this is way, way more hawkish than the Iran deal. And by the way, impossible. There's literally no way that North Korea would agree to this. And by the way, it would take balls for the U.S. to even ask for this. And I don't even think they should ask for this. So you know what they're doing, right? So let's say Donald Trump comes out of this meeting with North Korea and he announces a deal. And let's say, for argument's sake, the deal is something along the lines of they'll give up intercontinental nuclear weapons capabilities, and they will do no more testing. And, they do a symbolic thing of like, you get to denuclearize one, site in particular, okay? Now, if there is a deal, that's more along the lines of what we're going to see. Like, okay, they'll give up the intercontinental capabilities, and they'll allow the IAEA in there to do some checks. But they're not going to give up all nukes, and they're certainly not going to give up other weapons. That would be more of what we'd see. What Chuck Schumer is doing here with other corporate Democrats is he's saying, if/when a deal like that happens, we're going to oppose it. And we're going to oppose it from the right. And we're going to say, so the rhetoric of the Democratic Party if a deal like that happens, is going to be very similar to the rhetoric of the Republican Party after Barack Obama and John Kerry got a peace deal with Iran. So instead of being the peace party, instead of being candidates who are in favor of negotiations and diplomacy, the Democratic Party will officially stand up, as they're doing right here, and say, no, we're more hawkish than you. We don't want a deal because we think this deal is appeasement. And they might literally use that word, appeasement. Because here's what's for sure. What they're demanding as you have to do this, it's not going to happen. It's nowhere near going to happen. So they're setting it up so that they will 100% resist Donald Trump from the right. Listen, man, holy shit. They're so stupid. I mean, listen, even if they believe these things, they shouldn't be stupid enough to say it out loud. Because then even the charges of hypocrisy are going to be correct. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like the Republicans aren't hypocrites. If they do an Iran-type deal with North Korea and then all the Republicans support it, they're hypocrites too because they were against the Iran deal, which is something they should have favored. But the Democrats are going to be equal and opposite hypocrites. For the Iran deal, but against the North Korea deal. And by the way, to be fair to Chuck Schumer, he was against the Iran deal too. So he's consistently far right and hawkish on foreign policy. So you wonder why the Democrats suck and why the Democrats lose and why in the generic ballot there's literally a question as to who's leading, Democrats or Republicans. This is why. Because you're never going to beat the Republicans by saying, I half agree with them. They're kind of right about stuff. You have to propose a bold and opposite vision and make your case, make your argument. But it's hard to do that when you don't actually disagree. You know, Chuck Schumer is also bought by Wall Street. He's also bought by the military-industrial complex. He's also bought by the for-profit health insurance companies and big pharma. So that's why oftentimes on the issues where, you know, he should resist Trump the most, he actually agrees with him, like Syria bombing, for example. Well, now we have another example of him doing resistance, but it's resistance from the right. So you're going to portray Trump, who, by the way, is not a peace candidate because he's bombing 8 different countries right now. He ripped up the Iran deal. He's escalating in so many different places. You're going to make it look like he's more of a dove than you are, and then you're going to expect to be able to beat him. I can't get over it, man. It's honestly like they're trolling us at this point, the Democrats, because you would at least expect them to be smart enough where they say, listen, we don't even really believe in making peace with North Korea, but that's going to be what we argue for politically, you know? And that's like, for example, that's what happened during the Iraq war at a certain point. The Democrats were like, oh, we need to stop this war. Now, did they really want to stop it? Probably not. And obviously Obama kept it going for a very long time. But they were at least smart enough to politically say stuff to run against the war. But now it's like we're bombing 8 different countries. Chuck Schumer agrees with the bombing of 8 different countries. And whenever there's, you know, a brief ray of hope for something like a peace deal in Korea, he's shitting all over it. And he's like, no, here, these impossible, demands must be met. You guys are fucking embarrassing. You're really sad. You have no clue what you're doing. And you're part of the downfall of America. Because when there is no left-wing party, the results are right-wing extremism in perpetuity. And they are part of that system. You know, Noam Chomsky said it best. In the U.S., you have one party and 2 wings of that party. It's the business party. So, congratulations, Chuck, on being to the right of Donald Trump in some respects.